Welcome to our first episode of Where Are They Now? Tracking down former Butler students. And in this case, it's a pair of former Butler student athletes, Teresa Hurla and Jacob Hurla, who were at Butler in the earlier part of the 2010s, I believe. Was it 2012 and 13 maybe? Teresa was known as Teresa Offerman back then, played soccer for the Lady Grizzlies, and Jacob was a wide receiver for the Butler football team. And joining us to kind of take this trip down memory lane is our head football coach, Tim Schaffner. And Coach, where are you joining us from tonight?
Parts unknown, kind of the big country in Texas, near Coleman, Texas is where we're at right now.
Like you got a little bit of a cabin feel going on there.
Absolutely,
awesome.
Absolutely.
And we also have our head soccer coach, Adam Hunter. And Coach, are you still in town?
I am in my dining room.
Awesome. Well, I'm coming to you from the second story of Casa de Jacobs here in El Dorado as well. So let's start off with Jacob and Teresa. First of all, 12 and 13, right? That's the years you guys were here?
I played 11, 12.
11 and 12?
Yeah.
And then, Teresa, you were actually a transfer in, right? Is that?
Yep.
So where did you play before you came to Butler?
I was at Missouri Western.
Missouri Western, okay. So how did you guys meet? Obviously at Butler, but what's kind of the story there?
Yeah, so I like to tell people I invented sliding in the DMs because we had a sociology class together in this fall, and so I saw her in the cafeteria several times with all the soccer girls, and decided I would pretend like I didn't know about a homework assignment coming up or something, and so I sent her a message on Twitter, and then we started talking and got married years later. Here we are.
The early days of Twitter back then, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly.
All right. So you guys went different routes for college, though, right? After Butler, is that correct?
Yep. We both went to Texas to play our respective sports, but
not to Texas. I went to Texas Tech.
We both
Texas,
went
San
to
Antonio.
the state of Texas. I went to San Antonio. He went to Lubbock.
Not a Horns guy. Horns down there. But the state of Texas.
Which we were still like 5 hours away from each other just doing that. But yep, he played Texas Tech. I played at UTSA, and then we both ended up going up to Northern Iowa to finish out our sports and our education.
And so, Teresa, you pursued a law degree. Is that correct?
Yes. After I graduated from UNI, I moved back to Topeka, and I went to Washburn University, and I spent 3 years there, and I got my law degree, and I'm a lawyer.
And so what kind of law do you practice now?
I do trial work. We do civil litigation, and we most prominently do defense work.
All right, and you guys have settled in the Kansas City area, is that correct?
Yep, we're in Shawnee.
Okay. So do you like the big city?
Yeah, I do. It's a nice feel of we're not in the middle of everything, but we're close enough to get wherever we need to be.
Exciting time to be in Kansas City too, with the Chiefs doing what they did this year.
That was awesome. We went to the parade and had a great time.
Yeah.
All right, so Jacob, tell us a little about your education after Butler and your career.
Yep. So I went to Texas Tech when she was at UTSA, and I do not know Pat Mahomes. I always get that question since he went to Texas Tech, but I went to Texas Tech for a semester and then graduated from Northern Iowa in a couple of years. Got a marketing degree, started a career in sales, and then in 2018 I started my own company, kind of doing the same stuff, managing, coordinating construction projects with school district, and been doing that ever since.
Awesome. So let's take it back to your Butler days, and maybe this is a good time to bring in the coaches. Coach Schaffner, first of all, what was your lasting thoughts about Jacob as a player when he was at Butler?
Well, when we first recruited him, I wasn't sure that we were going to get him. The year before, I had recruited a safety from there, Spencer Vander Bogart, recruited him for a couple of years since his junior year, and really thought we were going to get him, and he ended up going a different direction. So as I went back to Topeka to work on Jake, I wasn't sure which direction he was going to go, but luckily he came with us, and then he kind of burst on the seam, oddly enough, against Hutch his freshman year. And what was a close game at the time, he took a little pass, made a guy miss, and then outran everybody down the Hutch sideline, which put us up and kept us up for good, which was really kind of his splash moment. And then as he grew into his sophomore year, Billy Cox came onto the scene, and those two developed a great chemistry and rapport, to the point that I'll never forget, during spring, we had to have a couple of checks that we called Hurla alerts, just being aware of where Jacob was, because he and Billy were just completely in sync. It was kind of a cool thing to see develop.
That's awesome. So, Jacob, I have one lasting memory of you, and it's probably, I don't even know if you remember it, but you probably know what I'm getting ready to say. There was a game at Highland, and a pass you caught on the sideline. Man, you got rocked, and I was hoping you were going to get up from that. Do you remember that?
I do not. I remember the play. I don't remember kind of much right after that, though. I just know I kind of bounced up off the ground, like gravity. He hit me so hard that I bounced up off the ground and landed on my feet. So I definitely remember the play, though.
I mean, there have been a few plays in Butler history when I've been really concerned about somebody's safety after a play, and that was one of them. But I'm glad to see that you're okay. So
yeah, and to go back to Coach Schaaf, I'm glad that you brought up Spencer, who was the guy that you recruited a year before me.
Yeah.
You mentioned the play at Hutch where I made a guy miss. It was actually Spencer that I made.
That's what I thought. I wasn't going to go up, but I thought, and I just remember standing on the opposite sideline going, all right, this is perfect.
Yes.
Things have worked out perfectly.
Yes, exactly. Spencer's my boy. I love Spencer, but it was just
right.
making him miss and knowing that was my friend over there. But no, I'm getting butterflies.
Was that your first touch? That was your first touchdown of the year, wasn't it?
First one, yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge play. Jonesy still talks about it. Jones talks about it all the time.
I hadn't played much up to that point, and I
know.
went in to give somebody like Tyler Dunham a breather, and then when Chandler threw it to me, I'm like, oh God, I guess I'll try to catch this.
Right.
Great time.
No doubt.
And Coach Hunter, maybe your thoughts about Teresa. If I remember right, you were a pretty solid defensive player for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, well, our recruiting story out of high school wasn't quite as successful because we tried to recruit Teresa out of high school, and she decided to go the NCAA route to Missouri Western her freshman year, and then we were fortunate enough to have her transfer to Butler for her sophomore year. She actually came in, I think, at semester, if I remember correctly. She was gonna, when she'd contacted us to transfer, she said, "Hey, can I come next year?" And I was like, "Well, why wait until the fall of your sophomore year? Let's get you here at semester." And she hit the ground running as soon as she got here. She is out of Bishop Carroll High School, and we knew at that point if she would come to Butler, she could have a significant impact for us on the defensive side of the ball. And her sophomore year, probably one of the stronger teams we've had, and we went to the national tournament and had a very successful season, won a conference championship, and at the end of the season, Teresa was named an All-American and the Defensive Player of the Year in our conference. And then she was able to kind of springboard our success and her individual success into an NCAA Division I career after Butler, which I think was kind of her goal from day one, and used our platform to try to help her reach that. But what I know about Teresa is, or what I remember is, always wanted to play, whether it was at practice, in a pickup game, even when she was away from the team, if it was going and playing indoor somewhere in Wichita or playing with friends. I think one thing that we find to be in every player that's successful is having a passion or a desire for the game or their craft. And, that was definitely Teresa. And, when you get enough players like that in a team, it becomes contagious. And, that was a big piece of what Teresa brought to the team while she was here, was just this contagious, positive desire to compete, desire to play, and a high work rate, and just made everybody around her better and want to be there as well.
That's pretty high praise, I think. So go back to you guys, Teresa and Jacob. Maybe what are some of your favorite memories of your time at Butler?
I have so many. I think everyone on our team, anyways, would always say that if Butler was we will all wish Butler was a 4-year school because nobody wanted to leave. Our team was we were all so close knit and, like Coach said, so competitive. And he made us that way. He forced us to be competitive. I remember every week we'd scrimmage and he would put the starting offense against the starting defense. So you'd say, oh, we're just having a scrimmage. That'll be nice. No, he always challenged us, made everything competitive. And then he would play with us. And I hated defending him because he's still so skilled. And he would, I remember one time he cut off someone's pass and he goes, read it like a damn book. And it's just, he gets us all fired up and then we'd get all fired up and everybody was just so competitive. We could hate each other at practice. And then afterwards we'd all go to the cafeteria together and like, we were so close and it was just always, like I said, so competitive and so much fun to play. And yeah, we all loved to play. We'd play, if we didn't have practice one day, we'd go to the CTC and play. Like we would just always wanted to be around each other and competing.
Yeah, and I remember, a billion things, but just how much of a family the football team was from day one. The whole community college, actually, which was weird. I mean, all the teams knew each other, but in our first team meeting or kind of first preseason there, Coach Schaaf definitely has his memorable speeches to the team. And then the athletic director coming in there and saying, you guys are going to be a family. I guarantee that somebody in this room is going to be the best man at somebody else's wedding, which that wasn't quite true, but I had a lot of my friends, teammates at my wedding, married a girl from Butler. So just great memories as far as relationships go. As far as football, just the memory of we had that thing freaking running like a machine. I mean, a well-oiled machine. It seemed like a routine. Everybody knew exactly what they needed to do to get it done, to be successful. And a lot of the memories that I made at Butler were, the best times of my life. And excuse me, I wouldn't pass it up for anything. So specific memories, national championship game, that's something I'll never forget. Definitely the game itself. And then it didn't work out for us. I do like to remind Teresa that they made it to the national tournament. We made it to the national championship.
He's we got second in the country. And I think Coach Hunter, we were like 5th that year maybe. So he thinks it's better than us. He won a few games at nationals. So I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'd say it was a pretty good effort all around on both teams, especially that year. So
it definitely was.
So do you guys keep in touch still? I mean, certainly this isn't the first time you've talked to those coaches.
Yeah. Yeah, we got married in August of 2018. We dated after Butler when we were both in Texas and then up in Northern Iowa, and then got married in 2018, lived in Lawrence for a while, and then moved over here to Shawnee last year.
Did you mean, do we keep in touch with other Butler people?
Well, I mean, do you keep in touch with your coaches and do you keep track of teams and everything? And
yeah, I had Megan, Darcy, and G. They were all invited to my wedding. Coach Hunter was invited to our wedding. Yeah, we definitely kept in touch and stuck around with our friends after Butler.
Yeah, no, like I said, I had several of my friends from Butler in our wedding, and Dawson Elliott's one of my best friends. He painted my house in Lawrence. He'll be over later this week, so keep in touch with a lot of those guys. It wasn't just a 2-year college; it was relationships that are going to last a lifetime. So definitely appreciated the time that we had there.
Awesome. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for our first episode of Where Are They Now? And as we found out with Jacob and Teresa Hurla, they're in Shawnee, Kansas, and both doing well professionally and personally, obviously, as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank the coaches for checking in with us also and sharing some of their memories. Yeah, we'll try to do this again. And but we certainly thank you guys for being our first.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Teresa.
All
Jacob.
right. Take care, everybody.